Modern debate culture is dumb. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not against conversations or disagreement. Talking things through, that's vital. What I'm calling out is the culture around debates. It's like every topic now has to be turned into a high-stakes, winner-takes-all showdown. Why? What are we even doing? Trying to win the Hunger Games of opinions? And here's the kicker. According to the American Debate League, the aim of a debate is to convince the opposition that you are right. Not about truth-seeking, not about understanding, not about exploring, just be right. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that sounds extremely toxic and dumb. That sounds exactly like something a narcissist would say. Debate should be a method for critical thinking and mutual understanding. But somewhere along the line, it morphed into a spectacle. I'm sure that great philosophers like Socrates will be rolling in his grave, as he himself believed in dialectic. Conversation as a path to truth. But in modern debate culture, it's more heuristic, focused on victory, not verity. As Nietzsche once said, convictions are more dangerous enemies of truth than lies. A Pew Research study found that 61% of Americans say debates usually generate more heat than light. In other words, more noise than understanding. The data is pretty clear. Most people don't feel like debates lead to insight anymore. Now, persuasion skills are important and useful. Being able to convince someone of something has value. But the second those skills become more important than the actual truth, that's where it gets dangerous. Think about it for a second. Why do we even waste time debating someone who thinks the earth is flat? What do we even get out of it, besides a few laughs or viral clips? And seriously, why do we feel the need to entertain both sides of things like whether there are more than two genders? Some stuff isn't up for debate. It's grounded in facts, and facts should be a full stop, not a starting line for endless arguments. But now, the moment you say anything online, bam, someone's already sharpening their digital pitchfork, ready to debate you, and not to understand you, or find the truth. Nope. Their goal is to destroy you, make you look dumb, and preferably in front of a massive audience. And I'm just sitting here thinking, what are we actually doing? Are we solving problems? Making progress? Or are we just playing verbal dodgeball for internet cloud? Honestly, I think debate culture was designed to make it easier for politicians to brainwash us. Whoever sounds more confident gets the applause, even if they are full of crap. It gives them an easy way to repeat lies until our brain stops questioning them. We don't even ask, is this true anymore? And as long as a politician is charismatic and quote-unquote destroys their opponent, most people don't care if they are lying through their teeth. Politicians and debaters have learned to weaponize that. It's emotional manipulation wrapped in rhetoric. Plato himself even warned us about those who teach persuasion without regard for truth. He feared democracy would fall into the hands of those who merely sounded wise. Rhetoric, he said, is the art of ruling the minds of men. According to a 2019 Harvard study, audiences rated the more confident speaker as more correct 74% of the time, even when they were demonstrably wrong. So if debates aren't helping us get closer to the truth, then seriously, what's the point? Some people would say, "Wow, debate isn't supposed to be about truth-seeking." Okay, then what is it? Entertainment? Ego? I mean, sure, debates can have value in philosophical and academic settings where nuance matters. But when we are dealing with real-world issues, stuff that actually affects people's lives, truth and facts should be the priority. Not feelings, not performance, not who sounds clever. Some might argue that debating makes you sharpen your thinking. It helps you build better arguments, man. Cool. But here's the thing. What's the use of a better argument if your foundation is built on garbage? Like an idiot making a better argument is still just that, an idiot. And the last thing we need in society is a bunch of confident idiots making better arguments and wasting everybody's time. Imagine this for a second. You are watching a debate where one side is arguing seriously that having a heart attack is actually good for you. I know it sounds insane, but stay with me. The person making that claim, he's slick, he's polished, full of confidence, he's throwing out metaphors like a heart attack is just the body rebooting, like restarting your Wi-Fi, and somehow it sounds convincing. Now, on the other side, you've got a real cardiologist who went through years of training, who actually understands the science, but they are not flashy. Maybe they stumble a little, speaking technical terms, and they aren't trained to entertain an audience. And in today's debate culture, most people will walk away thinking the confident guy was right. That's where we are. We've grown weaker as a society, not just physically, but also mentally. We've replaced common sense with charisma, and we no longer know how to verify anything for ourselves. We rely on somebody else to tell us what to believe, especially if they are loud and eloquent. Instead of doing actual research ourselves, we are stuffing our faces with Cheetos while listening to influencers debate whether being obese is completely natural and somehow optimal. We are not just ignoring truth, we are rejecting it on purpose, because it doesn't always feel good. And debate culture is built on feelings like you've won, not on learning or evolving. Now, I do believe in questioning things. Challenging the status quo is how we grow. But being skeptical doesn't mean saying whatever ridiculous things comes to mind on the internet. That is not critical thinking. Saying the earth is flat isn't someone being edgy or deep. That's just someone being dumb. There's a huge difference between skepticism and willful ignorance. Critical thinking means questioning with logic, with tools, with evidence, not just vibes and TikTok conspiracies. Real skepticism is methodical. It's about inquiry, not chaos. Flat earth thinking isn't skepticism. It's contrarianism with no commitment to truth, and social media has made it way too easy to conflate the two. And what about this obsession with hearing all sides? Like, I get it, fairness, open-mindedness, freedom of speech. Cool. But let's not pretend that every opinion deserves equal weight. If we are talking surgeries, I want to hear from doctors, not some random dude on YouTube saying, let me tell you how the human body works, man. If you eat one Big Mac, that's really bad for your heart. But if you eat two, then they're gonna cancel each other out. Trust me, bro. See, that's the problem when we act like every opinion is equally valid. And honestly, it's exhausting. Because look, if I'm about to get heart surgery, I don't want the janitor, the podiatrist, and the guy who once watched a single episode of Doctor Who arguing with the actual heart surgeon about where to make the first cut. No disrespect to anyone, but there's a time and a place for input. And open heart surgery is not a town hall meeting. I want the best people making the best decisions, period. But of course, it doesn't sound very nice. It's much better to say everyone should be able to debate anything, even if they are lying or don't know what the hell they are talking about, because then we can just laugh at them and let the masses decide what's true. But you see, that is only valid if the masses actually know how to verify information, and I get it. I'm not saying we should silence people. I'm not against freedom of speech. But let's be real for a second. This absolute all or nothing idea of free speech, that's part of what's ruining public discourse. We have made it so easy and even encourage unqualified people to debate, talk, and even lead us for the last few decades. And just look where we are now. Instead of teaching kids science, we are teaching them how a boy can become a girl. Instead of focusing on getting people the education and knowledge needed to actually participate in the debate, we'd much rather just let people talk made-up nonsense and call it a discussion. We have replaced thinking with shouting and replaced truth with whatever feels right in the moment. I'm all for freedom, but freedom without responsibility is just chaos. It's not liberation, it's decay, it's erosion, it's free fall into nonsense, where no one is ever held accountable for what they say, no matter how dangerous or destructive it might be. Today, it seems like that no one gets held responsible anymore. Not for their words, not for their lies, not for their impact on other people's lives. And when someone has a platform, and their words influence millions of people, that's not just free speech, that's power. And power needs accountability. Now, ask yourself this, and I mean seriously ask yourself, when was the last time a politician was actually held accountable for outright lying during a presidential election? Exactly. Never. We watch them lie, we know they are lying. The media calls it a misstatement or a gaffe instead of what it really is, a blatant, manipulative lie. And then we just move on. No consequences, no accountability. And what happens? They do it again, and again, and again. A 2021 Stanford study found that people are 50% more likely to believe a false statement if it aligns with their political views, even after being shown contrary evidence. We have created a system where lying to the public isn't just tolerated, it's rewarded. If you lie with enough confidence, if you say it loud enough and repeat it often enough, people start to believe it. And even if they don't, they will just shrug and say, well, they all lie, right? And that's the problem. We have normalized deception as just part of the process. It's not even shocking anymore. It's expected. And that expectation, that's the decay of a functioning democracy. Because if we don't hold people accountable at the highest level, how can we expect accountability anywhere else? But I get it. It sounds noble. It sounds good to say something like, I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. I mean, it sounds pretty good on paper, right? But how about no? How about we defend your right to be educated? Your right to know the truth? So maybe, instead of getting obsessed with defending everyone's right to run their mouth, maybe we need to start focusing on how we teach people to verify truth, how to think critically, how to recognize when they are being manipulated. Because if we keep pretending that every opinion is just as valuable as truth, we are not defending freedom, we are just fueling stupidity. Now, don't get me wrong, there are situations where hearing all sides makes sense, like how we spend tax money, or how public policy gets shaped. Those are the conversations we all deserve a seat at the table for. But funny enough, those are the exact debates the people in power don't want us to have. And here's what really gets me. Mainstream media will give hours of airtime to someone claiming that there are over 70 genders. They will turn it into a panel and let the talking heads debate it, like it's the biggest issue of our time. But try getting 5 minutes, just 5, on national TV to talk about why our public schools are literally crumbling, why teachers are buying supplies with their own paychecks, or why students are graduating without basic literacy. That's what debate culture has turned into, a perfect distraction, a spotlight on the loudest voice instead of the deepest problem. Misdirection at its absolute finest. It's a magic trick. Look over here at the spectacle while the foundation collapses behind the curtain. And you know what's funny? It's always the loudest voice yelling, "I speak the truth, nothing but the facts, and facts don't care about your feelings." Cool catchphrase, real tough guy energy. But a lot of the same people, they are the ones spreading straight up lies, manufactured outrage, fake stats, misleading headlines they know are BS. Because that emotional high is more valuable than the truth. And nobody calls them out. Why? Because most people aren't actually searching for truth. They are looking for confirmation. That little dopamine hit. That smug moment where they get to say, "See, I knew I was right." And here's the real twist most people miss. Feelings don't care about facts. And this is why real education is so important. Keywords being real education. I'll dive into our current education system in a different video, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that one. Look, if feelings do care about facts, debate culture wouldn't even exist, because this whole system is not built to help us grow. It's built to help us win, to feel like we've won, even if we are dead wrong. And that's why people would rather get a vibe check than a fact check. If a lie feels good, it doesn't matter if it's accurate, or if it's been debunked 20 times. If it hits that emotional nerve, if it confirms what they already believe, it wins. And psychologists have a name for this. It's called motivated reasoning. We don't reject facts because we are stupid. We reject them because changing our mind feels like losing. And we are wired, deep down, to avoid loss, to protect our identity, our tribe, our worldview. Debate culture doesn't reward truth. It rewards the narrative that feels good, the one that protects your ego. And here's a little question for you. When was the last time you actually verified something that someone said in a debate? Like, stopped the video, looked it up, and went digging. Probably not that often. And even if you tried, let's be honest, most people don't even know how to verify facts anymore. They just type something into Google, click the first link and go, "Yep, sounds about right." And here's the kicker. Google doesn't care about facts, and neither does AI. They care about what's popular, what's engaging, what's going to keep you clicking, scrolling, watching, not necessarily what's true. And if the lie is more clickable than the truth, guess which one you're gonna see first? Now look, I don't want you walking away from this video thinking that I hate conversation or disagreement. That's not it. I love deep conversation. I respect disagreement. That's how we grow. But what I don't like is the way we've turned every exchange into a performance, every issue into a sport, every disagreement into a battle where someone has to win. Because not everything has to be a debate. Not every moment needs a mic drop. And not every opinion needs to be packaged like a TED Talk. I'm not pretending to have all the answers. I really don't. The reason why I made this video in the first place is because I fall into the debate culture trap too. I've been there, I've done it, I've taken the bait, gone back and forth trying to win the conversation. So please don't take this the wrong way. This isn't me pointing fingers or accusing anyone. It's just me holding up a mirror and saying, hey, maybe we've got a problem here. That's it, no judgment, just reflection. However, I do think we need to care more about truth than clout, more about understanding than winning, more about asking honest questions than crafting the perfect comebacks. So yeah, modern debate culture, I think it's kinda dumb. Not because disagreement is the problem, but because we've turned disagreement into entertainment, into ego contests, into intellectual UFC matches where the loudest voice wins, not the most honest one. And the real danger is that this mindset shapes how we talk about real issues. Instead of seeking understanding, we seek dominance. That's not how we move forward. That's how we stay stuck. Because truth doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need applause. It just needs people willing to stop performing and start thinking. People who value understanding over scoring points. People who know that asking the right questions matters more than having the flashiest answers. Modern debate culture, as it stands, isn't bringing us closer to truth. But real conversation, built on curiosity, honesty, and the willingness to be wrong, might. And that is what we should be aiming for. Alright, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if you didn't, well, let's be honest, you probably didn't make it this far. Either way, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the comments. Take care of yourself.